Hello guys, welcome to the first video on Bash shell scripting for beginners. And in this video we will learn what is shell, what is bash, and what is shell scripting. But before that, let's talk about who can take this tutorial and what are the requirements of taking this tutorial. So what I am using is I'm using a Ubuntu Linux operating system for this video tutorial series. So if you have any Linux operating system, you will be good to go. Or if you have Mac OS or Windows 10 also, you will be able to follow along this video tutorial because Mac OS or Windows 10 nowadays also supports bash shells. Okay. So for this video series, I will be using the Ubuntu operating system. Now, if you don't know how to install Ubuntu operating system, or if you don't know how some Linux commands works, I have already made some videos on Linux commands and how to install Ubuntu operating system. So first of all, see those videos and then you will be able to follow these videos also. But I will be starting from the beginning, so it's not very complex. If you are beginning from this video also, you will be able to follow along. So first of all, what is shell? A Unix shell program interprets user commands which are either directly entered by the user or which can be read from a file called the shell script or shell program. Now it's important to note here is shell scripts are interpreted and not compiled. So when you write a shell script, it's interpreted by your operating system, and you don't need to compile your shell script in order to execute it. So if you have editor, you can write your shell script and you right away can execute it without compiling this shell script, right? Now there are different types of shells and we will be learning bash shell scripting. Okay, so first of all, open your terminal, and on Ubuntu you can just press Ctrl Alt T to open the terminal, or go here and search for the terminal, right? Now, in order to search what are the shell types which your operating system supports, you just need to write cat and then just write etc and then write shells. Okay, so cat /etc/shells and press enters, and you can see these are the different kind of shells which your system can support. So for example, my Ubuntu operating system support sh, dash, bash and rbash, and this bash is what we are going to learn, right? Now what is sh? Sh stands for Bourne shell, which is the original shell still used on Unix system or Unix like environments, right? So the first shell which was used is this shell. Now what is bash? So bash stands for born again shell. So after this shell, this born again shell was reinvented, and it's basically based upon an improved version of this sh or Bourne shell, and nowadays it's the standard GNU shell, which is intuitive and flexible. Okay, so it's more or less the standard shell which is used in most of the Linux operating system or Unix based operating system, including Mac OS and nowadays Windows 10 also. Okay, so these are the shell which are supported by your system. Now where bash is located? So to know where bash is located, you just need to write which bash, okay, and then press enter, and you will be able to see this output, and this is the location where your bash is located. So now we have all the information about bash, and let's create of our first hello world bash script. So I'm going to clear the terminal. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just navigate to my desktop folder or directory, and here I'm going to create a new file, which is a shell script file. Okay, so I'm going to use touch command to create the file, and I'm going to name it as hello.sh. Now it's important to know here is .sh extension is not necessary to execute your shell script. So if you name it hello also, it will work totally fine. But for whenever you want to open this shell script using any editor, then it's useful to have this extension, because your editor will be able to understand that this is a shell script file, so it will give you a beautified version of this shell script using the editor. Okay, so it's not necessary, but a good practice to use this extension. Now touch command can be used to create a file. So let me just press enter, which is going to create this hello.sh file. You can see here, right? Now let me give you a little bit more detail about this file. So whenever you create a file with the touch command, and whenever you do ls-al here and press enter, you will see here your hello.sh file have the rights here for read and write for you, and read and write for the group, and read only permission for the user. And this we will see later what this means, and how we can make this script executable little bit later. But let's start writing some script. So let's create a hello world script with this shell script. So what I'm going to use is a editor called Visual Studio Code, but it's not necessary. You can open this shell script using any other editor. So for example, on my Ubuntu operating system, I can use gedit to write my script, or as an editor, or if you have Vim or Nano, they will work fine. But for me, I like using Visual Studio Code as my editor, so I will be using Visual Studio Code. But it's not necessary. You can use any other editor for writing script. Okay, so for me, I will just give code and dot. This is for opening this directory using Visual Studio Code. But if you don't have Visual Studio Code, just double click on your shell script and it will open with the default editor you have. Okay, so my Visual Studio Code is open now, and you can see I have this shell script here, and it's empty, right? So let's write some script here. So the first line of script, whenever you are writing a bash script, it's standard practice to use this hash here. So first of all, just write hash and then this bang here, and this is called shebang sometime, or hash bang. Okay, and then write the location of your bash. So we have used which bash to know the location, and the location was /bin/bash, right? So I will write this, or whatever the location in your operating system, you just need to write this location here. So this helps the interpreter to know that this is a bash shell script. Otherwise, if you write here, for example, other shell, for example sh, then your interpreter will know that it's not bash, it's some other shell's interpreter, right? So first line is that, and then you can write entering your script. So it works same as shell, so you can give any shell script or any shell command here. So I'm going to use echo, and then I will just write hello world here. So hello world, and echo command is used to print whatever you write in these double quotes. Okay, so I will just save this, and I'm going to minimize my Visual Studio Code, and now I'm going to execute this script. So I have just written two lines here, right? This first line for the location, and second line is for the echoing hello world, right? So let's execute this. So I'm going to just write point or dot and forward slash and the name of your shell script. So just write the name of your shell script here. Okay, and then press enter here, and now it says permission denied, and this is what I wanted to show you. So because this file, whenever you create using touch, it has only read and write permission but not execute permission, and what we are doing here is trying to execute this, right? So we need to change the permission of this file first and then execute it. So how to change it? Using chmod command. So just write chmod and then just write +x and then the name of the file, which is hello.sh, which is going to change the permission of this file. So I'm going to press enter, and now just do ls-al once again, and now you can see that you have read write by the user and then execute permission by by the group, and read and execute permission by other users. So let's try to execute it again. So I'm going to just execute it, and now it gives me hello world, which is what we wanted to execute, or which we wanted to print using our script. So this was the first video on bash shell scripting. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the further videos we will see some more details about bash shell scripting. So stay tuned and please rate, comment, subscribe, and bye for now.